Welcome everyone to day two of the My Stepdad 5-day challenge. I forgot to record yesterday's, but I didn't miss that today. So welcome back. If you watched yesterday's, I'm thrilled you're back. I really am hoping that I can see how you guys did. I don't know that I'm seeing comments on the YouTube channel, but I didn't figure that out yesterday. I may not figure it out yet today. And maybe there aren't any, but if there are, I'd love to interact with you on the live stream. So, how many of you have done what the action for yesterday? How many of you downloaded the forms, filled out the household tasks that you've got, and made your chores chart? I'd love to hear about that. I'm going to ask you about that in a bit. Today, we're going to move on in our 5-day challenge, but I don't want any of you to think that this is just a curiosity thing. It's not going to do you any good to watch these videos or watch the live stream and not do what we talk about. So I want to make sure you're committed to doing that. So if you didn't see yesterday's, if you're seeing this after the fact, if you watched yesterday's and didn't get your action item done yet, go do your action item. Make sure you download those forms and fill out the chores chart and start doing regular chores because you're going to be so much so much happier. You're going to have so much more fulfillment. It's going to feel good when you do that. And the whole point of yesterday's was to start learning self-discipline. So let me share my screen here. Oops, let me set it up first. In this mode, there we go. In this way. And then I got to get my little image where I can see you and me. And we are going to jump into day twos now. All right. So yesterday we talked about self-discipline, some of the things in one action that you can do to start building your self-discipline muscles. This 5-day challenge is all about what it takes or the lessons that you may not have gotten because you were raised without your dad being involved in your life. Now, you may have gotten a lot of these, but you're at higher risk if you didn't have mom and dad both working together, helping you to learn some of these skills. That's why I have this YouTube channel. That's why I have my Instagram page. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to help young men particularly, but all of you that have grown up without a dad, to learn some of the lessons, be better equipped to succeed as adults in society, and to know that you have a dad that really cares about you. And so hopefully you're feeling that as we go through this. But day two challenge is one of the things, again, that I think you're at biggest risk of not maybe developing to the same level you would if you had mom and dad both helping you learn these skills, and that is relationships or social skills. So learning how to get along with others is more important than we realize at the surface level. If you're learning how to play with your friends when you're young and you don't learn that skill well, you're not going to do well in adulthood. If you don't learn how to give and take in relationships, like, okay, I want to play what I want to play, but I don't want to play what you want to play, and that's all you do as a kid, then people aren't going to want to be around you as a kid or as an adult. So there's a skill set there that is much more important than just healthy playing habits. It's learning how to interact positively with others. And I can tell you from decades of living that it is more important than you might realize. I say that because if you've ever had a coworker or a boss or a close friend who didn't have these skills, they can make your life miserable, your work life miserable, um, or that you can do the same thing to others if you don't learn that as well. So that's why these relationship skills are so important. That's one of the reasons. You'll notice as we look on the map to manhood here, and this is the overview of this path. So the map to manhood has 4 paths on it. Yesterday, we looked at one of the milestones, actually one of the actions on one of the milestones of the self-discipline one. Today, we're looking at the relationship path. That one also has 4 milestones. So those milestones are learning to be a good friend, learning to interact positively with your family, and that includes your nuclear family, but also your extended family, learning how to interact with other adults, and ultimately learning how to interact positively with the opposite sex. So, how to have positive relationships in an intimate relationship. All right, there's far more than we can cover today. So, we're not going to cover all that today, but let's take a quick look at where this fits in overall on the map. And all these things are based on the book, The Map to Manhood. The the map has, I think if you can see the cursor here when I'm sharing, I don't know if you can, but the blue one on the left, that is the self-discipline path. Those are the 4 milestones there. The relationships ones are the red ones. That's what we're going to be focusing on today. The learning how to love yourself and others is the green milestones. They don't quite show up as well in that green background, but they're there. And then the fourth path is learning or discovering what your purpose is and living into your purpose. And we're going to talk about those two tomorrow and the next day, respectively. And day 5, we're going to wrap it all up. So thank you for being back here again today. I really do hope you did it. The chores chart. This is the one we looked at yesterday, and this was the action, particularly the milestone that we looked at. So tell me, how did you do? Did you download the chart and list all your jobs? Did you put them in the template so that you've got your own chores chart now? I really want to know how you did. I don't think I can see comments here. If you're in the Zoom call, I can see it. So if you want to put anything in there, that's great. I don't know that others can see that if you do, but regardless, email me at dad@mystepdad.org and let me know how you did. Message me on YouTube, on Instagram, and let me know how you did or what issues you ran into when you try to do that. I don't want to spend too much time on this on yesterday's, but I want to encourage you to do it if you haven't done it. All right, so let's jump into today's day 2 of Stepdad's 5-day challenge. We're looking at social skills. We start with friends. That's the first milestone. In fact, the challenge action for today is going to come from that one. I'll just give you a little bit of a heads up. I already mentioned that learning how to play well with children is actually a vital life skill. No one wants to be around a person that's only interested in themselves. It's easier to learn that as a child, but you can still learn it as an adult. So if you didn't learn it or haven't mastered that skill, you can still do that. Don't give up on that. It's important to be able to be a good friend, but you need to understand that your friends are a much bigger influence on you than you might think. I already mentioned my past job. I had a managers or directors. In fact, the last job I had, there was a whole class of senior management, not all of them, but a lot of them that made it a very, very difficult work environment. Enough so that I decided I couldn't work there any longer and arranged things so that I didn't. If you don't learn how to interact positively with other people in all environments, in all relationships, even work ones, you're going to suffer. So it's important. Not only is it important that you have those skills, but it's important for you to think about your friends because you do more with them than you might think, or they have a bigger influence on you than you might realize. Let me share a story with you to illustrate this point. When I worked at that job I was mentioning to you, I noticed the boss I had a particular brand of shirts. I don't remember what the brand was, but I thought they kind of looked nice, and he probably knows more about fashion than I do. And so the next time I went clothes shopping, I bought the kind of shirt, the brand that he was wearing. Let me give you another example. My son was dating a gal years ago, and she liked country music. Well, we didn't listen to country music in our home. I don't think he did before then. But guess what? He started listening to country music because the girl he was dating at the time listened to country music. Well, he brought that home and he would play some, and I would listen to him. I said, that's kind of a nice song. And so guess what? I now have a country music playlist on my phone because my son dated a girl that liked country music and he brought it into our home and I kind of liked it. And so I have it. Now, I use these stories to illustrate the fact that your friends are more important than you realize, not just because you want to get along with them, but because they influence you. That's a big factor. And that's one of the exercises that I talk about in the book is evaluating your friends. And if you think about the people that you spend the most time with, are they positively influencing you or are they negatively influencing you? And it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be neutral. Mm. Sorry, a little tickle in my throat. But in the book, The Map to Manhood, there's actually an exercise of evaluating whether your friends are positive influences on you or negative influences on you. So think about that when we talk about friends. All right. There's a lot we could unpack in the relationship path, which is, let me go back to this one now. There's a lot we can unpack in here if we wanted to do that, but we can't cover it in the 5-day challenge. So I did choose one action for today. That's the challenge action for today. Let me start with a story. When we're talking about today's challenge, um, I had a couple of friends I would walk to school with when I was in middle school. And I was early teenager. I might have been, I don't know, 12, 13. Um, Apparently, one day as we were walking home from school, we had a disagreement of some sort. And I say apparently because I don't remember it. We started shoving each other, apparently, and I got pushed over, and apparently I hit my head on the sidewalk and got knocked out. So I don't remember any of it. I just remember waking up at home and then people telling me what had happened. Not long after that, my friend came over to apologize. Well, guess what? That's going to be the challenge action for today is apologizing to a friend. But let me finish the story. So I'm there with my friend. I guess I don't need to share the screen at this point, but I'm there with my friend and he's apologizing to me and I should just readily forgive him. But as an adolescent, you're thinking of other things. Again, I can't even remember anything. I don't even remember what the disagreement was. I don't remember the shoving match that started, and I don't remember getting knocked out. I just remember waking up at home. To this day, I don't remember any of that. But he came over to apologize. I'm sure his parents encouraged him to do that. Uh, in my mind, I thought, well, you know what? I can use this as kind of some social leverage. I didn't think of it in those terms, but I can make him feel guilty or I can manipulate him because he feels badly now that he knocked me out by pushing me over on the sidewalk. Um, well, I should have been able to forget it altogether and forgive it altogether because I was like Gilderoy Lockhart. I'd already forgotten it. It was like the memory charm had already backfired on me because I didn't remember anything about it. So all I needed to do was forgive in this case and accept his apology. Now, I share this story with you because it illustrates the challenge for today. This can be easily done, the challenge, in the next 24 hours. As in terms of time, it doesn't take a lot of time, but emotionally, it's going to be hard for you, more than likely. At least if you do it right, it's going to take some emotional effort. But it can be done. So here is the challenge. Today's challenge is think of someone you know that you may have offended in the last week or the last month or the last year or whenever. Then call them and apologize. Now, don't just do it really quickly. I want you to think about it. I'm going to talk about how you can do it. One of the reasons this can be hard is because we associate our worth and our value as a person to being right in our opinions. So if we've had a disagreement with someone and we apologize, it's like admitting that we're wrong. At least we think of it that way often. So if we think we're wrong, we don't want to do it. And we don't want to do it because we feel like we're less of a person if we were wrong in the first place, or if we have to apologize to someone. Um, Here's a little hint. You can apologize to someone even if you weren't wrong, and you'll still gain benefits from it. Now, this is why I picked the challenge. You can do this in 24 hours. And if you do this, you are making leaps of progress in your ability to interact with other people. If you do it right, you're going to learn to practice empathy and in other words, the skills that go with it, communication skills along with empathy. And there's a big benefit that you get when you do this because it's going to lift a load off of your shoulders and build a neat foundation. So here are some of the skills you need to do this right, though. I don't want you to just call up whoever you know. Okay, yeah, I ticked off this guy. Call him up. Hey, I'm sorry I ticked you off. See you later. That doesn't work too well. I mean, that's even better than nothing, probably, but start by practicing empathy. If you think about the situation, think about what happened from their perspective. Now, empathy is not agreement. It doesn't mean you agree with them, that you're agreeing that you're wrong and they're right, if that's the choice you're giving yourself with it. And it doesn't have to be binary in that scenario. More likely, it is that they perceived something differently than you perceived it. And that's where empathy is going to come into play. Put yourself in their shoes, but also put yourself in their frame of mind. Did you say something that you meant one way and they interpreted another? Very easy to do and a common mistake, which doesn't mean anyone was wrong. It means there's a mistake in between. The act of empathy or the practice of empathy and thinking about it from their perspective, it might turn the light on in your mind. Oh, well, I can see why he or she felt that way or thought that way based on what happened to them earlier that day or that week or from their background. Or maybe the context in which you said it wasn't quite what you intended it to be. So by practicing empathy, putting yourself in their frame of mind, understanding what they are, it makes it a lot easier to take that next step of picking up the phone and calling them. Authentic communication is another skill that comes into play that if you do this right, you're going to enhance your ability to do that. So don't just say, I'm sorry because I told you because you're doing the Stepdad challenge and that's what today's challenge is. Hopefully you'll communicate it in a way that is genuine and authentic. And even if they don't accept your apology or forgive you or change their perspective right away, then you're still going to be a better person because you've done it. Now, if they do take your apology and appreciate it and forgive you or say, I accept your apology, then you're going to experience the power of a true friendship. Your relationship will be deeper because you've been through that disagreement and that reconciliation than it would have been if you never had the disagreement in the first place. At least there's the potential for that. So let me give you an example from my life. And this one's a little tough to share. This one's almost humiliating. It's not now, but the experience was real. So I was on I was golfing with a couple of coworkers one day, and I'm going to stop the well, you've seen the flagpole there. So we went golfing as a way to, well, because we could. And we'd had a business meeting. We went after that to a golf course and we're golfing. I had been golfing with a guy once, a customer once, and they did something to me that was rather funny. So when you're on the green and you're putting, you pull the pin, that flagpole that I just had a picture of. You pull that pin and set it out of the way, and then you putt. Um, well, while I was putting, the guy that I was golfing with picked up the flagpole, and if you swing it really fast, that flag whips in the wind and it makes a sound almost like an airplane's flying right over your head. And he did that to me when I was putting, and it's like it startles you, it scares you. It was a funny thing, right? So here we are. I'm with my coworkers. I don't know, next year, different golf course. I'm thinking, I'm going to do that to him. So I pick up that flagpole. Let me get the picture of it back up again. I pick up that flagpole and I swing it, and you got to swing it fast. Now they're like flexible, either metal or fiberglass, but they're pretty solid. I mean, they're holding it upright, right? So I get it and I'm swinging it so that it's whipping in the wind, but I wasn't far enough away from the guy I was doing it to. You guessed it. I hit him right in the side at full swing, like I'm swinging a baseball bat. Fortunately, it wasn't that stiff. I laid him flat on the green. I mean, he's trying to putt, and all of a sudden he gets whacked by the flagpole. And I can laugh about it now, but believe me, it took years for me to just, oh my gosh, what did I do? Of course, I dropped the flagpole, ran over to him. John, I'm so sorry. What the, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's holding his side because I just whacked him in the back with the flagpole. And all the way home, it was an out of town meeting. I mean, the other guy I was with says, what are you doing? Oh, it was an embarrassing, even at the time, humiliating because it meant to be funny, and it went south. So I even I had a bad day the rest of the day, feeling so bad, feeling embarrassed, feeling humiliated, feeling sorry that I'd hurt the guy to the point where I even had to call him the next day. And I remember sitting in my office, in my desk, I think it was a cube, which didn't make it easier because people can hear around you when you're on the phone. But I go pick up the phone and call him, John. I am feeling so bad, and I am so sorry for what happened yesterday. And John had the graciousness to say, "Hey, it's okay. I'll be fine. Don't worry about it anymore." Now, hopefully, you don't go around hitting people with flagpoles by accident. It was an accident, but you've probably done something unintentionally, hopefully not intentionally, but even sometimes intentionally. When we get angry, we do things with intent that we regret later. Think about who it is that you may have offended and go ask them for their forgiveness. Go apologize to them. That is today's challenge. Now, how many of you are going to do it? How have you already thought of someone? When I asked about someone that you've offended or hurt or done something that they are holding a grudge or that you're holding a grudge to them, it can go either way because that's a good indication that something bad has happened between you. If you think of that person, then start by putting yourself in their shoes, in their frame of mind, from their perspective, and trying to understand the situation as they may have perceived it or experienced it. That's the empathy part. Then I didn't talk so much about the communication thing, but you can pick up the phone. If you can do it face to face, do it face to face. Say, look, I've been thinking about what happened, and I'm sorry about what happened, and I just wanted to apologize. And you've got to be ready for whatever their response may be. It may be, you know what, I'm glad you apologized. They may feel relieved and grateful. They may choose to hold the grudge for some longer period of time. But either way, it's going to lighten your load because you have done that. That's a big assignment for the next 24 hours. So I know, um, if you haven't done the day one action, then I hope you'll do it. Go back and do that. Make the commitment to do this today. All right. Pick the person, think about it, do the empathy exercise of putting yourself in their perspective, pick up the phone or go to them if they're close, or you can physically be in person and apologize. That's not admitting you're wrong, but it will still make things better for you and them. So that is today's challenge. Tomorrow, day 3, we're going to be working on what is the most important path on the map to manhood. And that is learning how to love others and yourself. So um, get these 2 done. Make sure you come back tomorrow for this one. If you did not buy the toolbox, this is an option that has a lot of resources available in it to help facilitate this 5-day challenge. It was priced at $19 for the early bird special. It's up to $29. There's over $100 worth of value in the toolbox. So I really encourage you to go take a look at what it is. And you can see it on this page here, mystepdad.org/toolbox. If you can get it, it's going to help you get the most value from this 5-day challenge. If not, that's great. I did extend the discount through midnight tonight. So you can still get it for $19 instead of the $29, but that's only through tonight. And even if you pay 29 bucks for it, it's still worth it. So go get that if you haven't, if you're able to. Otherwise, always remember that you can still succeed. If you've grown up and your dad's not in your daily life, you can still learn how to be a capable, loving, functional adult man in society today. And you do have a dad that loves you. And don't forget tomorrow's challenge at the same time, and I will see you on day 3.